everybody. So, we're really excited. We are here to talk about more episodes from the first season of Doctor Who. We're almost finished with this season in this Talking Doctor Who recap podcast we've been doing. And my friend Jonathan is here to talk about episodes 8, 9, and 10.
Hello.
Yeah, thanks for joining me. And I don't know when I can think of a stronger 3 sets of episodes that we have covered. We've just covered season 1 and season 10. I know it's kind of strange, but that's how it worked out. And I really thought these were all solid. And so I'm really excited to talk about them with you.
Yeah, I really like these ones as well.
Yeah. And they're all going back in time, which maybe says part of the reason why I like, because those are ones I like better. So, okay. So we're going to talk about episode 8 first. And this is called Father's Day. And this was written by a man named Paul Cornell. And if I had a hat, I would tip my hat at Mr. Paul Cornell, because this was very well written, I thought. That was the star of this episode, was the writing, in my opinion.
I liked this episode too. I kind of have one issue with it, but only because I've watched the rest of the series.
Mm-hmm.
Things happen in this episode that never happen again. Like these creatures that come to cleanse the wound of time, you never see them again.
Mm-hmm.
And they're never talked about again as something that happens if something bad happens in time, like time is broken. Like time is broken multiple times, but it's always something different that happens in later episodes.
Mm-hmm.
So as much as I liked it the first time I watched it, just thinking about how that it's inconsistent as to what happens when time is rewritten just bugs me a little bit. Mm-hmm. Not enough to ruin this episode for me, because I really like this episode.
Mm-hmm.
And the characters save the episode, no matter what happens with the lore of the show. The characters are the star of this episode, and the characters are the reason that I like it so much.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that this is one of the rare episodes that I've seen. Again, I haven't seen everything, but that actually kind of accounts for the messing up with time. That you don't, the paradox of time. I think maybe that's part of the reason why I liked it so much. But I thought that the dialogue was really strong. I thought that as far as the writing, I just thought it was very well written and a very interesting story. And I think it's maybe a shame that they haven't embraced some of the themes of this episode anymore, because I just think it's really strong. So, well, let's talk about it a little bit, about what happens. So you have this request by Rose that the doctor take her back to the day that her father is killed in a hit and run car accident. And he's resistant to this idea at first, but she says, I just don't want him to die alone. And I mean, without huge spoilers, is this unique in the fact that the doctor helping persons in either the companion or I guess in his life, is that a unique thing in the series? Going back in time.
This specific type of scenario, I would say that this is unique. To go back to something as pivotal as one of their family members' deaths, I think that's pretty unique. I can't think of another instance where something like this happens with another companion.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense because it kind of exposes a logical problem maybe with the whole Doctor Who with Doctor Who. It kind of exposes a problem, that they're making all these changes in time and there's no ripple effect really shown. And so, it makes sense that they would kind of fudge over that. But I thought it was really powerful, and I can understand why the doctor would want to help Rose, this request of at least just her father not being alone. But she gets there and she can't kind of help herself but save her father's life. And she says she rationalizes as it's just one commonplace, ordinary person. Like it's not someone who's going to become a Nazi or something like that. And what did you think of that?
I understand her motivation. I understand everybody's motivations in this episode, and I think they're all really well written. Like I said, my only problem with it is the inconsistency with the rules of how changing time works. Giant monsters that come to cleanse the wound and then they're never heard from again. It seems like that should be something integral to the lore of Doctor Who. And it just kind of bugs me that they're explained away and forgotten after this episode.
Yeah. Fair enough. Like I said,
the characters, everything about the characters, the way they're motivated to do what they do, everything else makes sense in this episode, and I really like it for that.
Yeah. Fair enough. Well, so, I mean, it makes sense what Rose is saying, but then the doctor, of course, has a very strong reaction to what she says. He says, I thought that you were smarter, and that how could you be so stupid? What did you think of that interaction?
I thought he was rather harsh, but a lot of things about the Ninth Doctor are kind of harsh. He's very blunt about a lot of things he says, so I didn't find that out of character. I wish he could have been a little bit nicer with how he phrased it, but with his character, it makes sense.
Yeah. And I mean, it is a huge problem. Again, taking out the rest of the lore or whatever, like if you just look at this one episode, it's a huge problem at what she's done because, her dad they could even have more children all of a sudden. And there could be, those people would then go out to have more children. And, what I mean? Like it could have this, one of those kids could be the next Hitler, you know what I mean? So like it has a huge, huge ripple effect, even though it seems like, it's just one ordinary man.
Yes, and that's true. But I keep coming back to this, but like the Doctor does this himself. in future episodes, he'll say, there was one episode specifically where they save a whole family of people that were going to die just because they weren't important. And his companion really wanted him to have compassion on someone. So the Doctor, he's semi-hypocritical, and I know the Doctor's personality changes from incarnation to incarnation, but I don't know, it just seems inconsistent to have him so upset about this one instance, and then a few years later he does it again himself with no repercussions.
Okay. Well, I thought, though, it was interesting when he says, my whole planet was destroyed. You don't think I've been tempted to go back and fix that? I thought that was good.
Yeah. No, I liked what he had to say. It just, as looking at the series as a whole, makes me kind of annoyed with the Doctor sometimes.
Yeah. Fair enough. Okay. So anyway, like you said, well, first of all, she gets to see her parents' actual marriage and gets to see that they weren't all things weren't, roses and cupcakes like she had always been told, which was interesting.
I liked that. It's always, everybody always talks about people who have died like they were, I don't know, better than they were.
Yeah. Right.
And it was nice to see that wasn't the case, I guess. I don't know. I liked the fact that he was very human and he was not this perfect man that she grew up believing him to be.
They're at this wedding for friends of theirs, and there are these reapers that come, and they're trying to, like you said, heal the wound, which again, I don't know all the lore like you do, but like I thought it was actually kind of a beautiful concept of sort of a wound in time, because you think of like death really does create a wound, and I don't know, I thought it was really well written just as far as an episode. And
It was.
yeah.
I liked it. Like I said, it's just looking at the many episodes that come later where something totally different happens in a similar scenario. That's what bugs me. It's that it isn't consistent. If they'd had some sort of explanation about the Reapers went extinct or something, that would be totally fine with me. It's just that they happen in this episode, which I really liked and it was well written, and then they're completely forgotten about in the rest of the series.
Maybe they can bring it back for next season.
I would like that.
Yeah.
I would like that.
Mr. Paul Cornell, come back. Write another episode. A plot hole. Like time travel is just like by its nature, like always going to have plot holes.
Yes.
Always. And so like you have the fact that her mother wouldn't recognize the fact that, why does my daughter look so much like this woman? Like, yeah, maybe that was there with my, like my husband when he died, and this woman, that was pretty pivotal. And yeah, maybe you just forget or whatever. But it's the same thing with like Back to the Future. Like, why you say that? Why does the mom never say, why the heck does my kid look exactly like the kid from that I almost kissed in high school? That got us together and everything, and that I named him after. And so it's funny now, but that's just the part of the fun of time travel, is you kind of have to be like,
you have to be willing to suspend disbelief a little bit,
right? Because there's just always, like I said, always a million plot holes with time travel, and so you just have to kind of have fun with it. In my opinion. So anyway, yeah, that's basically the episode. I don't know. I just yeah, it's hard because I don't have that experience like you do. So I'd give this like a 9 out of 10. I really liked it. I thought it had heart. I thought the dialogue was really strong. I thought the story was really solid. I thought that it was just very well done, but I don't have that experience like you do to have the problems. So I understand.
I think before, like the first time I watched it, I probably would give it a 9. Now I think I'd probably give it an 8, because there are things that now that kind of annoy me having seen the whole series, but I still really like the episode, so it's still really high for me. Yeah. So I'm going to do an 8.
I'm going to talk about two-parter with The Empty Child and The Doctor Dances by my favorite author, Stephen Moffat. Just kidding. And I was joking with you that this to me is like his Sixth Sense. It's like, because I say that Stephen Moffat is the M. Night Shyamalan of TV, because I think he got a little bit, in my opinion, I think he got maybe given a little bit too long a leash, just like Shyamalan. And I don't know, like he's the king of like the twisteroo, and I gotta, I can't just tell a good story. I have to like wring a good story out of you and kind of try to trick the audience, which I hate. And but this one, there really isn't a cheap twist. In my opinion, this is actually a pretty solid, pretty emotional set of episodes. Some people like the idea that he does like these sort of puzzles and you kind of figure it out, but like I always find them immensely frustrating. And and so it was sort of pleasant. So I'm not somebody who won't give people that I generally dislike credit when they do something I like. So there you go. So the first part of the episode is called The Empty Child. And in The Empty Child, basically there's this they find this cylinder marked dangerous, and they end up going to World War II, and the Blitz on London finds this child, this boy, with a gas mask, and is asking for his mother. He's asking for help, and so she's trying to help him. And at the same time, the doctor finds this woman named Nancy, and she knows about the boy. She says that the boy is her brother. There's this captain named Jack Harkness, and he's a time agent. Can you explain what time agents are?
Not completely, because they're only referenced vaguely in the series. From what I've seen in other episodes and this episode, it's some sort of agency, like I think it's like the year 5000 or something, some far off time, and they travel through time, and I'm not sure what else they really do. I'm not sure why they travel through time. And I don't know. There's not a whole lot given about them.
Fair enough. Okay. So, but these are not Time Lords.
No. These are humans, as far as I know.
Yeah.
Humans who have discovered time travel.
Right. And so, what did you think of this little boy, and what did you think of Nancy?
I loved this concept. It was this is the kind of scary movie or scary TV show that I like, because my biggest problem with horror movies is at least the ones I've seen, they never have a good ending. And this one, it was creepy and disturbing, and just, it had a great atmosphere, but then at the end, there was a good ending.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish more horror movies would be like that. I know they probably wouldn't be called horror movies anymore if they were like that. But if I'm going to watch something that's scary, I want there to be a good ending, and I really liked this. I liked the concept of this creepy child following people around asking if they were his mummy. And I don't know, it was so well written and so well thought out. This is Stephen Moffat at his best. Because I've said for years that his best episodes were when he was not running the show. I think he just got too much on his plate and didn't have enough time to work his magic on one single episode or set of episodes. And his best work is when that's what he's focusing on for the year.
Right.
I thought he did a great job with these characters.
Yeah, these are good. And so I can understand that. And yeah, I know what you're saying about horror. I feel like it is nice to have, and I'm no horror expert by any means, but it is nice to have a sense of sort of catharsis and a sense of some sense of sort of victory or something like that when you leave a movie that, I think even like the great Hitchcock films, there usually is some sense of like, well, the bad guy was killed, or some sense that the characters are going to be safe, some at the end of those movies. So I think there's some truth to what you say. And so, yeah, I think it was good. What do you think of Nancy?
I really liked her. I liked that she was so devoted to her, spoiler alert, her son, that when he died and became this creature, she used that devotion towards other children who didn't have anyone. And she basically became a mother to them because she couldn't be one to her own son.
Yeah.
I just thought she was a great character, especially for that regard.
Yeah, she was good. I mean, she had real heart, and you could see why she was sort of ashamed of she was ashamed of her, not her son, but ashamed of the fact that she had her son in a way, and you could feel that, but like also she was a very conflicted character, I think, and it was also a time of war. You just really, and I thought the girl did a really good job with her performance. She was good. Yeah. And yeah, it was good. I thought that this I thought that this two episodes were unpredictable. I really didn't quite know what was going to happen, and that was nice. And it wasn't in an annoying, well, Stephen Moffatish way. It was in a I don't know. I was just enjoyed the ride. Like I didn't quite know what was going to happen with this. I didn't, at least I didn't call it at the beginning that this was her son, and that, you know, kind of how it was going to play out.
Mm-hmm. That's one of the reasons I like this episode so much, because I know you don't think of it as a twist ending, but I thought there were a lot of little twists and turns that this episode took that were just really great and really surprising and really well written.
Yeah.
Just classic Stephen Moffat at his best, I think.
Yeah. It was really good. And so there's this doctor named let's talk for a second. So what did you think, even if the time agent is confusing, what did you think of Jack Harkness as a character?
I like him. He's funny and different, because you don't get, like, most of his companions, because Jack is technically included as a companion because he's now on board the TARDIS and riding with them. He doesn't have a whole lot of guy companions, and they're usually from modern times. I like the fact that he's from a time in the distant future. I just like his perspective on things, I guess. He's different than most of his other companions, and I like that.
Yeah, I thought he was great. I thought that him and Rose had really good chemistry. I thought that the actor was really charming. And I don't know, I just really enjoyed him a lot.
John Barrowman is a great actor. I don't know, have you ever watched any of the CW superhero shows? Arrow, Flash?
I never have. Is he on those?
He plays Malcolm Merlyn, who is an extremely evil bad guy. And he just plays him to perfection. He's so evil. He's great. I really like him. I don't think I've seen that much else with him, but he's been on Arrow and the other shows even more than he's been on Doctor Who now, because he's been on Arrow for years. So I really like him. I've seen enough that I just enjoy it whenever he's in something that I'm watching.
Yeah, he was new to me. I had never seen him before as an actor, and I agree. I thought he was really strong. Dr. Constantine, who is watching over all of these patients with the same gas masks that the little boy has. And he's kind of creepy and weird. And just everything is just kind of, he's kind of just creepy and weird, and you get this weird vibe. It reminded me a lot of the what are they called? The creatures in season 10 with the masks over their I can't remember what they're called. That Bill becomes turned into.
Oh, the Cybermen.
Cybermen. Yeah, that's what it kind of reminded me a little bit of. I thought
I can see that, but it's totally different. But I could see where you get that, especially the way that it happened for Bill.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they're in that hospital with Bill and everything. So sort of mostly set up in this first episode, and then we get in the Doctor Dances. We have the sort of concluding part here, so that we find out that that Jack had sent that canister, the cylinder or whatever, to sort of attract other time agents, and he was going to try to kind of use a sort of this money-making scheme, I guess, that he was going to do. And
he was trying to con somebody into thinking that it was worth more than it was.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to sell it to them, but he had parked it in a place where a bomb was going to fall, so it would be destroyed after they paid for it. And then he looks like he's in the clear because he got his money, and that would be it. Because the way it would look to them, they wouldn't realize that he'd gone back to this time before to figure out where a bomb was going to fall so that he could park this thing and have it destroyed before somebody could pick it up.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it worked. You didn't really need a ton of backstory as far as all that. I didn't really care where the canister came from. To me, it was sort of unnecessary. I mean, I don't feel like very often in Doctor Who do we really understand what brought the Doctor to where he ends up. You know, he's just there, and so I didn't know if I even really needed any of that. Like, he could have just been. I would rather had maybe more explanation of what a time agent is versus like this particular canister, how it got there. That didn't really matter to me. And
I never thought of it like that before, but that is true. I probably would like more explanation about time agents rather than this canister. That eventually turned out to be an ambulance. But yeah, it would be nice to know more about time agents. They did have a lot of explanation about the Chula warship and the canister that's an ambulance.
Yeah.
Really, for the most part, I guess that stuff isn't explained too in detail in other episodes.
Yeah. Agreed. And so anyway, the Doctor figures out this whole concept of nanogenes, and that basically they're kind of that it's like the ability to sort of heal and comfort, and I don't know, that the problem is that they think that all humans need to be like this little boy.
I think that basically the nanogenes they're a type of nanobots. Like in other science fiction, you'll have nanobots, which are microscopic robots. I've seen other things where it's like a cloud that just looks like a cloud or a swarm of something that it's so tiny and so many of them that you can't tell what it is.
Yeah.
But they like can build buildings and things. I think they took that concept and made it into sort of a medical concept. Yeah. So these things repair broken bodies, like heal wounds, things like that.
Yeah, exactly. And the problem is they just deduct the wrong thing from this little boy, and they end up. That's why they end up like
converting trying to convert the human race into being what this little boy seems to be.
Right. Which is an interesting concept a little bit, you know, because it's one of those things in sci-fi where it seems so great on the surface, like, oh, these creatures that are able to heal and make things so better and whatever, but then you just get this like little sort of it's sort of like this little like temptation or this little misinformation, and it causes a huge problem. The best of intentions gets perverted, I think.
Yeah.
And so Dr. Constantine and the rest of these patients have been converted, I think, as you said. And but what we find out is finally the Doctor kind of talks Nancy into admitting that this little boy is not her brother. And that's why he keeps asking for his mother, and that he is actually her son, as you said. And I thought that worked. I thought it felt authentic. I thought it felt like a real, sort of, I don't know, reveal. And I thought it worked. It was good.
Yeah, it's still one of my favorite resolutions to an episode, because I would say less than half of Doctor Who episodes have a really solid, happy ending for absolutely everyone in the story. and this one did.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think literally everyone had a happy ending because everyone that was affected by the nanogenes was healed by the nanogenes when they realized that they were wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think anyone actually died in the whole episode, which is very rare for a Doctor Who episode, and I really liked that.
Yeah, it was really sweet. So, yeah, she admits that she is his mother. They embrace, and that's when the nanogenes realize that they connect with her DNA, and they realize that she is his mother, and that's when they transform all, not only the little boy but the rest of the patients and everything like that. And that was really sweet. That was really a tender moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
sure.
I really love the ending to this one. Because of the ending, it's one of my top favorite episodes.
Mm-hmm. And then you get a really nice moment with Jack where he is he's flying off, and he realizes that he has the bomb on board his ship. He's going to die, and he's got a what was it, a martini or something like that, and he's like, toasting his last moments. And that's when Rose and the Doctor come in and save him, invite him to the TARDIS, and it was just really nice. Another nice moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really liked that episode. I really liked that part of the episode too, because the Doctor and his companion usually leave, and they usually leave whoever they've been working with behind. But I really liked that Jack came on board the TARDIS with them and essentially became another companion, because that doesn't usually happen. Like, there's a lot of side characters that the Doctor meets through his journeys that I feel like I really want to see more of this character, but they get left in the past or the future, wherever they are. They get left there. And I really liked that didn't happen in this one. I liked that
Yeah.
Jack came on board for some more adventures.
Is that something that happens more in this season than in other seasons then? Because we've had the what's his name who goes with them to the future.
Yeah, I would say so, because it's very rare to have the Doctor just pick up another companion and have them come forward and be like a secondary companion to his main companion.
Yeah.
You'll have other times where there's more than one companion, but it's not always like the Doctor just decides to pick up somebody that they've met. It's, I don't know, like in the future, one of his companions gets married, so the person that the companion marries comes aboard the TARDIS as another companion.
Yeah.
And just, it's more things like that. Somebody who's related to the companion. It's not like somebody random that they meet.
Well, and Jack finishes out the season with them, correct?
Yes.
So that's pretty cool. That's really cool. So yeah, I mean, I don't know, it's really strong. It's a really strong episode. I mean, I these two episodes together, I don't know, I might give it a 9. I think it was really good.
I think I would probably give it a 9 or a 9.5.
Yeah.
Because it's one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's a really good one. I can totally see why. The acting's really strong. The visuals are really strong. I like the idea of, because you do wonder, like, I guess why not go back and like shoot Hitler, or like before he became bad, or, you know what I mean? Like if you had that ability. And so at least this one, they went back to World War II and did something. And so that was good. But I like these ones when they go back in time the best, as we've talked about. So this was really good, and I thought Jack, I like Nancy, I liked the little boy. It was just good. So
Yep.
Yep.
I agree.
Good job. Yeah, and so the next of the season is all written by Russell T Davies, and it's is it a 3-parter basically through the end of the season, or no?
No, there is. The next episode is standalone. The threads of this episode are very minorly continued into the beginning of the second to last episode, but not enough that you could say that it's a 3-part episode. But then the final 2 episodes are a 2-part episode.
Okay.
However, they differ enough, like tonally, that you could still consider them episodes that stand alone. Because even though everything from the second to last episode carries over to the final episode, they're very different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because it takes a turn at the end of the episode and becomes something totally different. They're really good. This is more of my favorite episodes coming up.
So. I'm excited. I'm very excited. And we did forget that the Doctor does dance, as the title would imply, of episode 10. And that was fun.
Yeah.
Dancing scenes. That was fun. So, all right. Cool. Yeah, definitely these are 3 of the strongest. I think the writing in particular is really good. And so good job, writers. So, all right. Well, great. Well, we're excited to talk about the end of this season. And and we're not sure. I mean, obviously we have the holidays are a lot harder, but we'll try to get these out as soon as we can. And if you can let us know, if you're watching, what do you like about these episodes or not like, put in the comment section. Let us know what you think, what rating you would give them. And so how can people find you?
I'm on Twitter at John J. North, and I have a YouTube channel as well. I'm doing these episodes that we're doing sort of a standalone episodes. Right now I'm going back and forth. I'm really busy, so I haven't gotten one out for last week yet, but there will be more coming.
Yeah.
I just got to get some time.
Sure. And those are really fun. I'll have a link in the description for your channel, and check that out for sure. And your other content is really great. So check that out, and you can follow me here on YouTube, Rachel's Reviews, on iTunes under the same name. Also, I have my Hallmarkies podcast, and that was very exciting because yesterday we got over 1,000 listens, like total cumulative, which was very exciting. So check that out too. And my blog is 54 Disney Reviews. So lots of fun stuff going on. And so, yeah, thanks again for joining me. It's so fun to talk about these good episodes.
Yeah, I love talking about them too. Thanks for having me.
No problem.